Good evening and thanks for watching the Delta's #1 news station. I'm Mike Sands.
And I'm Janice Harris. Today is Wednesday, June 23rd, 2010. New at 6, Humphreys County jury awards a female Belzona police officer $150,000 in a sexual harassment civil lawsuit. Mayor Wardell Walton says Officer Shirley Johnson filed a lawsuit against Police Chief Mickey Foxworth, Officer David James, and the city of Belzona. A Humphreys County jury heard this case last week. Johnson told jurors how she was being sexually harassed by fellow officer David James. Chief Mickey Foxworth was named in the suit because he allegedly did nothing to stop it. Mayor Walton says the jury's ruling has led to changes within the police department.
Going forward, we have taken proactive steps in having courses, having our officers to continue some courses in policies and procedures for the Belzona Police Department. We've also hired a consultant to consult and advise the Belzona Police Department and the Chief of Police in regards to staffing, scheduling, and etc. But retraining our officers is a high priority that we're looking at this point.
Including Police Chief Mickey Foxworth. Mayor Walton says the board reserves the right to take any disciplinary action against the chief. Although Johnson was awarded $50,000 for each defendant named in the suit, the mayor is confident the city could win on an appeal. Staying in Belzona, new at 6, there is some good news from Belzona tonight. The community is hosting a First Impressions meeting. As you know, first impressions are important. If not handled well, it can spell disaster. Belzona is hailed as the catfish capital of the world, but some residents want to make Belzona an even better place to live and work. In order to do so, they need your input about past accomplishments and ideas for the future. The First Impressions meeting is open to the public. It will be held at 5 p.m. on Thursday at the Depot Theater at the Catfish Museum.
Well, Greenville residents come together to fight crime. Reverend Frank Hall is hosting a community forum tonight beginning moments ago at the Friendship Missionary Baptist Church in Greenville. The area's crime-related problems and potential solutions will be discussed. The church is located on 322 North Street in downtown Greenville. Well, the Cleveland Police Department wants false emergency calls to stop. The calls waste time because it takes away precious minutes from officers that need to respond to real emergency calls. It also wastes taxpayers' money, according to Cleveland Police Chief Charles Bingham.
We lose time and actually cost us money to respond to these false calls. And there again, that's the money that the citizens pay as far as taxes to have these services provided for them.
Bingham went on to say that sometimes criminals make false emergency calls to divert officers from where actual crimes are taking place. Well, a piece of Montgomery County history is coming home to Winona Monday. ABC 6 News reporter Linnea Batiste has more on this story.
We pulled together on this. It was kind of a far-reaching idea to get it home, but we got it home.
Winona Mayor Jerry Flowers is talking about this clock. The clock recently took a long trip from Wisconsin where it was on display at the Washington Commons Mall in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Just over 2 years ago, talk about the clock stirred up in the community, which caught the attention of Flowers.
Someone brought up the idea of I wonder where the old Montgomery County Courthouse clock is. A gentleman by the name of Jim Whitehead, who is a native of Winona, finished Winona High School, he found the clock, contacted me, and then we took it from there.
The clock was added to the old Montgomery County Courthouse in Winona in 1903 and was located in this spot where now only a monument stands. The city tore down the building in 1977 but sold the clock to a Winona native that in turn sold it to Canterbury Clocks in California. From there, it made its way to Wisconsin. Now, after 33 years, Winona received the chance to buy it back.
Probably 6 months ago, I got a phone call from Green Bay again, and they were wanting, I believe, $10,000 for the clock. I got them down to $6,000, so we made an agreement. We purchased the clock for $6,000.
After the city purchased a clock from the mall in Wisconsin, the next hurdle to overcome was trying to get it back home. Knowing that shipping would be very costly, Flowers made a very important call to FedEx.
Mr. Whitehead and I both wrote letters to Fred Smith, the CEO of FedEx, and asked him if he could help us out by getting the clock shipped to Winona at no cost. And he graciously agreed to do that.
The clock officially arrived in Winona on Monday and is currently in storage. Flowers is unsure where they will place the clock, but says it will be home in Winona. Reporting in Winona for the Delta's #1 station, I'm Linnea Batiste.
The clock is appraised at $50,000 and weighs 9,300 pounds. The city has raised over $20,000 to help place the clock back in Winona.
Dr. Edward Hill, chairman of the World Medical Association, visits the port city today. Dr. Hill spoke at the Washington County Republican Women meeting earlier today to discuss health reform and a new law.
Rules and regulations of legislation are written. We really don't know what's going to happen. We also, all of us have great concerns. Those who are proponents of the bill and those who are opponents are both concerned about how we're going to pay for it, for instance, and how we're going to work out the complexities of this legislation. It's extremely broad, it's extremely complex.
Dr. Hill is also a family physician from Tupelo. Still to come after the forecast tonight, a group of 6 siblings. They are looking for a forever family on this week's Wednesday's Child.
And later in sports, find out who the new head Tiger is at Ray Brooks. First, ABC 6 Chief Meteorologist Christopher Mathis is standing by. Chris, any chance at a passing thunderstorm around the Delta this evening?
There is, Mike. We've got a few heavy ones on radar now. We'll see that and look at the 7-day forecast in just a moment on ABC 6 News at 6 o'clock. Let's look at our Alpha Insurance Skycam there from the Hampton Inn overlooking Kirk Auto Company on Highway 8 in Grenada. It's 95 degrees and feels like 106 because of that high dew point in the middle 70s. Looks like the flags are blowing a little bit, but not enough to register anything on our wind speed there. 106 is considered unhealthy for that stressful work or exercise. So if you're going to do that this evening in Grenada or anywhere else around, be sure to take lots of breaks and drink plenty of water. We'll get the airport numbers from Greenwood at 6 o'clock. It's 91, feels like 100. The breeze is starting to pick up some with that thunder shower nearby. Southwest, 10 miles per hour. And in Greenville, it's 91 with a heat index of 102. A south to southeast wind 10 miles per hour. And the barometer shows 30.01 inches of mercury. Hot numbers in a lot of places again today, although the temperatures have dropped a little bit from earlier this week. We can't find anything hotter than the lower 90s in Mississippi. Jackson is down to 87 where there's been some rain. 93 up at Memphis, middle 90s in Little Rock and Hot Springs. Mena, Arkansas, over near the Oklahoma border, has 97 this afternoon. And here's a wider shot of the rain and thunder showers that are most concentrated south of us. Not a whole lot of widespread activity, and probably won't be for a while, but each afternoon at least we've got that chance to cool off with the rain and thunder showers. Very hot weather out to the west. It's 100 degrees in St. George, Utah, 108 at Tucson, Arizona. That's the actual temperature, but of course it's a dry heat out in the desert, and it's 95 as far north as St. Louis this afternoon. Looks like we'll continue with lower to middle 90s here in the Delta. We should be able to stay a few degrees under the century mark, at least from what the thermometer says, but of course it'll feel hotter. Here's our forecast for tonight. Patchy clouds, some isolated thunder showers, especially during the evening, with a low of 74. Sunshine mixed with clouds tomorrow, a scattering of rain and thunderstorms. Some of that could happen before noon, but mostly during the afternoon and early evening. The high 94, heat index may get close to 105 tomorrow. There is still a heat advisory in effect from the National Weather Service for areas north of Grenada and Cleveland, but it's going to be hot everywhere when it's not raining. Not much changing, still some scattered thunder showers Friday and Saturday, highs lower to middle 90s. Looks like lesser rain chances Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, but maybe still a few isolated thunder showers each day. And the humidity could drop very slightly by around next Tuesday and Wednesday, which would mean not only a lower heat index, but probably little or no shower activity too. 92 to 93 though for highs next week, so it's not really going to cool off much at all.
Right. Thank you so much, Chris. And next on ABC 6 News at 6, the youngest of 6 siblings would like all of them to find a forever family together. You'll meet him next.
And in sports, we'll recap the United States' thrilling victory over Algeria in the World Cup. First, here's a look at the stock market.
Delta, you're watching ABC 6 News.
Earlier this month, we talked with a sibling group of 6. They were first featured over a year ago, and still they are waiting for a forever family. This week on Wednesday's Shout, we take a closer look at the youngest member of this family, Romello. He is hoping to find his forever family for him and his big sisters and brothers.
6-year-old Romello has just started kindergarten.
We go to the table and do some paper map. We do map.
Very good. Do you like coloring? Tell me your favorite color.
Green.
He enjoys being outside with his big brothers and sisters. Like video games?
My favorite video game is X-Men.
What do you do with X-Men?
So he be cutting all the people.
Is that Wolverine? Romello says his siblings are very special. Living apart, but you guys still get to see each other, don't you? Very good. And do you have fun when you get to see each other? What's the best part?
We get to play at their house.
Romello is the little drummer boy. He can make drums out of almost anything, including a table.
I would like to play the beats.
Just the beats? Okay, can you give me a beat? Let me hear a beat.
Boom, 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 boom.
Romello says there's only one way he wants to be adopted, and that is with all of his brothers and sisters. It's important that you're with somebody who's real nice to you and your sisters and brothers, right? And what else do you want them to do?
Take care of me.
Take care of you. If you are interested in learning more about adoption through the Department of Human Services, call the Mississippi Adoption Resource Exchange at 1-800-821-9157.
Wednesday's Shout is brought to you by Wendy's and WABG. Stay with us after the break. Mike Sands is next for sports.
Welcome back. Well, 2 district rivals in Bolivar County promote from within to fill their vacant head coaching positions. First, Ray Brooks promotes defensive coordinator Jordan Goins to head coach, replacing Jerry Walker. Goins earning 2 state title rings as an assistant coach for the Tigers the last 5 years, and he says being in the program already, there should be no problems moving forward.
Well, that helps out because they know my expectation. They know what I expect out of them, and they already know me. There's nothing new, nothing changed, so it shouldn't be no excuse. Well, from the previous coaches here, Emmett and Walker, I learned a great deal from them. You know, I enjoyed that experience, worked up on them, and taking what I gathered, I'm moving on with their ideas and some more new ideas, and see what we can get out of that.
Goins takes over as head coach a year after the Tigers missed the playoffs for the first time in 8 seasons. To Shaw, where Hawks assistant coach Kendrick Smith is tabbed to replace the legendary Butch Idman as head coach. Smith coaching the Shaw wide receivers and defensive backs the past 4 seasons. Smith telling the Bolivar Commercial he's excited to build on what Idman started within the Shaw program. To the World Cup, the United States game this morning with Algeria had just about everything. A must-win scenario, a disputed call, and essentially a game winner in overtime. John Berman has more from South Africa.
For 90 minutes, it was almost, nearly, not quite. The U.S. needing a win to advance at the World Cup missed chance after chance.
Absolute agony.
With former President Bill Clinton looking on, they faced a tough team from Algeria and more tough calls from the refs. In the first half, the referee disallowed this goal from Clint Dempsey, calling it offsides, though replays clearly showed the goal should have counted. This came just 5 days after a different ref stole a victory from the U.S. squad by nullifying this goal with no explanation. After 90 minutes, it looked like the bad calls and bad luck were going to send the Americans home. Their World Cup appeared to be over. But then, in the 91st minute, magic. This dramatic run ending with Landon Donovan burying the ball in the back of the net.
And Donovan has scored! Oh, can you believe this?
It was the latest U.S. goal ever in the World Cup. An overwhelming moment for hero Landon Donovan.
I've been through a lot in the last 4 years.